How you doing? Hope you can hear me with all that noise in the background. Here we are in Finsbury Park on a Sunday. Today is the 26th of July 2020 and it's the third week into the reduction of the lockdown, and we're now about to go into the fourth week of the reduction in the lockdown. Now, I hope you can hear me over the drumming. So every Sunday we have, well, not every Sunday, every now and then we have a session down here in Finsbury Park. This is a drumming club. People come down for therapy, therapeutic drumming. So this is for the community. On Sunday it's free drumming. So people come down. There are good drummers, there are bad drummers. Everybody's down here. It's a regular place of mine. I'm part of the community of drummers here. So today's Sunday, the 26th July 2020. Here we are in Finsbury Park. Weather today is about 18 degrees. The wind is blowing, so it's slightly a bit chillier. So good weather. It was raining earlier on today. I thought it was because we have to have the session outside. We can't have the session inside with social distancing and the other things that we've got to keep in thing. Interestingly enough, what's happened is that yesterday, at very short notice, anybody coming from Spain has to instantly go into a 14-day lockdown because of the virus. So that was quite a surprise. We've got some people who are angry because from midnight last night, anybody landing in the UK has to quarantine, and if you don't, well, it's not if you don't, they would come and check on you, and if you are not in the place you say you are for that 14 days, then they're going to fine you. I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen next, so we're looking forward to that. Something interesting this morning as I went about my shopping is that I saw a beggar, a guy who's literally on the street all of the time, and I saw him today. The last time I saw him was actually if you look at my webcast when I was outside Tottenham Court Road tube station, with all the buildings being built up, and Centre Point at that junction, just behind me, or as I say, behind the camera. So you're looking at me behind the camera where there were some shops. My guy was lying in the doorway, and after I finished my recording, I went up to him and said, "Hey, what's happening? You moved to the city, you've moved up." I said, "Oh, we're missing you down by my local, And he said, no, I was there a couple of days ago, I'm just down here, literally lying in the doorway, so today I saw him. He was sitting in front of the supermarket outside of the premises. I think they kicked him out, and he had a cup, and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And his face just lit up, his face just lit up, and it made me think, right, that if I was to give to charity, right, I got people coming up to you coming up to me and going, "Oh, we got a charity, can you sign a regular can you sign a regular thing so that you can send them some money every month, or they'll take it out of your account, right? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, my guy there, I might as well give him a 50 pence or a pound. Anybody comes up to me and asks me about charity, I said, no, I've got already a charity, and I realized the next time I see my guy, I'll give him a 50 pence or a pound. I didn't have any change. I mean, I'm a charity, case too, if I'm not careful, by the end of the month, well, we've got a few days time, but this pandemic's going to go on until Christmas or after Christmas. There isn't any end in sight at the moment. But back to my guy and the charity. Now, those charities that are on the streets that have you sign up or put money in the bucket, or even these television ads, this is what really, really annoys me. You have these companies, charity companies, that say, oh, they're supplying water to places in Africa, right? And they've been doing it for years. But what have they done? What have they done to alleviate the situation? Have they shown us what they've done? They may show us a clip every now and then of one thing that they've done. But what it is about these companies is that 75% of the money you donate to them goes in administration. The person who's out on the street, asking you for your donation or asking you to sign up, he has to be paid or she has to be paid. So a percentage goes to them because they're not doing it for free, right? Because in this world we live in, right, any time you spend will have to be paid for. You might as well, there is no such thing as free time, right? Everything has to be paid for. You got to pay your rent, you got food, you got bills to pay, right? Electricity, gas, council tax, right? So there's no such thing as free. So those people that are collecting money on behalf of the charity, they got to be paid. Now when it comes to the charity now, the charity takes out their share. Administration, the big building, these directors they have on the company, they've got to be paid their expenses. I looked into those companies, one of those companies, right? And they've got directors, lords and ladies. These companies are valued or have in their coffers things like 500 million quid, right? Which they've collected. But most 75% of that money goes in their administration, their head office, their building, their big offices, right? And then you got these ads on television, right? Now you got to pay for those ads, right? But it's a misrepresentation of Africa, right? It's a misrepresentation of certain people, right? Now, I don't blame you for when you feel or you see that somebody is in trouble in another part of the world, you want to help them and you donate, right? But these people are taking advantage. Only about 25% of the money that you donate actually goes to the source and resolving the problem. Plus, they're paying their administrators or their people over there in Africa. Now the fare's got to be paid for, right? The airfare's got to be paid for. Their accommodation's got to be paid for. Their living things got to be paid for, right? And while they're there overseeing a project, okay, they live in comparison to the locals, they're living in luxury, right? Now this is all cost that you have to take up when you give a donation, right? And I believe it's more like 90% of the money you give actually goes into that, their administration and cost and what have you. So my guy who is lying in front of the door of the shop in my locality, I prefer give him a 50 pence or a pound. So he's going to buy a drink, right? But what are you going to do for him, right? These big companies, right? Big offices, big administration, what are they doing, right? Really, what are they doing? So they collect all this money, right? Let them show you what they're doing, not the little things that they do every now and then, and they give an example of one person who gets a new home and there's a whole big media thing about it, right? All this big money you're collecting from the hearts of people who are donating, right? Let me see really what you're doing. And what does that make me think about? All of these charity shops we got on the high streets, right? Making loads of money. What are they doing with the money, right? They're getting those premises rent-free sometimes, rate-free sometimes. The labor is free in there. The stuff that they're selling is free because people have donated it, right? And all this money they're making, right? What are they doing with it? So the head of that charity, right, whichever one of them is getting something like 100 grand a year, right? Meanwhile, we got people sleeping on the streets here in the UK. We got people, and we're gonna have more people sleeping on the streets, right? And since we're in the end of the third week, going into the fourth week of the easing of the lockdown, because government wants things to get back to normal, right? Now that normality means there's going to be more people out on the streets. That normality means there is about 500,000 people added to the unemployment list right now because of the current situation, and some of them is going to fall right through to be down on the streets sleeping, right? So what are those charities going to be doing for those people? Those people who are earning £100,000 a week for being head of those charities or working in the head office, right? We want to see more, and we want you to be more accountable.